Hey guys, Center Ash here, and welcome back to another build guide. Today we're doing the sniper, so let's take a look over the perk tree. So immediately starting off for the perk tree, the level 1 skill for block break is the best one out of the three. Shots against blocking or shielded enemies deal 25% of normal range damage. The other ones I'm not super keen on, so I don't really give a shit about. It's just melee and reviving squad members faster. If you want to be the revive bot, you can take the revive, but it's not worth it. The other two skills for remaining stationary and then reloading while low on ammo or melee is just not kind of worth it. You could take Vantage Point if you want, but I prefer having the maximum ammo. So I use Las Fusils, they're a lot better, but the other skills are good for if you want to use one of the other sniper skills, but I prefer taking Lethal Efficiency, where if you kill more than one enemy with Las Fusil, it restores the charge by 1. It's very useful, more than you would actually think, so we're going to take that. Until you get to the level that allows you to take Squad Renewal, we are going to be taking the headshot damage one. Squad Renewal, a headshot kill restores ability charge by 10% for any squad member, which is great because we're just going to be doing a lot of headshots anyway. But the extra headshot damage increase by 10% is going to be great across the board for our entire team. Onto gear. We're going to be taking a headshot kill restores Clan Muscle Cloak surge by 5%. Instead of manually activating it, removes negative status effects. You really shouldn't be getting any as a sniper. Targeted shot, the first range attack that breaks Camo Cloak deals 75% more damage. Great, because again, both having that with the headshot damage and the cloak damage is going to just stack and be really good for us. If you are still early levels, I highly recommend taking Guardian Protocol in case you have a squad member that is going absolutely down and getting absolutely crushed. Camo Cloak will hide you and squad member for 5 seconds without spending the charge, and the cooldown is 30 seconds, which means you can easily use this to keep you up. Again, melee not in this build. Camo Cloak deactivates, take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. This is just great overall for having people bounce between helping you and picking people up. Last but not least, we are going to be doing our signature. We're just taking the first signature. The other two are just not worth it. It's just going to be evasion. So basically, after a perfectly timed dodge, Camo Cloak automatically activates without spending a charge for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This just means that if anything just happens to hop on top of you and you can just dodge, you can just Camo Cloak out and readjust your position. Really useful. The other two are not so much worth it. You would think they would be, but lethal damage, you get your Camo Cloak, and performing 4 consecutive headshots get you equipment charges. Not that worth. So again, Las Fusil. We're just taking this because it is just super strong. We're taking the Gallifamore because it has the best magazine capacity. There's really no reason to take a Bolt Carbine. They just don't do as much damage, and the ammo capacity is not that great either. Bull Sniper, even at the highest levels, just doesn't do enough, and it doesn't give you enough ammo reserve as well. So it's just not worth it. And then the Stalker. The Stalker is alright, but it's like a campaign-only kind of weapon where it's stronger. So definitely not worth it. So even though we lose out on 1 damage, or losing out on fire rate, the magazine capacity for these weapons are so much better. Perk tree. We're going to be taking the ammo reserve because of course we are. Adamant restoration because we just want more ammo all the time. Any ammo that we can get, any regen we can get is great. Radius of beam is also going to be useful because it won't be so much as a sniper shot. It'll be more of a beam shot, if you kind of understand what I mean. Headshot Hunter, just again, more headshot. Now, normally we would take that other beam radius, but all the stuff here early on is pretty much key to what we want. And of course, just everything over here in the relic side for the Las Fusil is kind of awful, so you don't really even need to take it. You could just take all the early front-loaded stuff and be perfectly fine without needing any of the relic gear or perks. Now we have to take the bolt pistol, it's the only one we could take, so I've almost fully leveled it. Now I fully leveled it. Again, the Gallifamore is just going to be the best one here. And then, of course, the perk tree, we're just taking down the entire bottom row. Reason being that it focuses a lot on Tyranids, and it focuses a lot on just giving us more damage, especially after dodge, or just after anything in general. With gun strike recoils, so on and so forth. We don't really need the reload, so we'll just take more damage. Take more magazines, so that way we just have more and more. Just keeps us fully loaded on the front line. Whenever our health is below 30%, killing 10 enemies in rapid succession gives us more HP, which is really beneficial, especially with this pistol. you'll be able to get the couple of headshots popping off. Last but not least, our only melee weapon, the combat knife. Now, I'm not a huge fan of this combat knife, and I tried rocking all the other different variants, but this isn't even a fully leveled up one yet. But you can see that we're just kind of going for melee damage, just for something that allows us to get a little bit more damage off anywhere that we can. We're probably just going to go full bottom row, because full bottom row is the best way to go, even though I don't have it fully updated. And you want to grab the fencing knife, again, because blocking on the knives or even balanced on the knives are just really atrocious, and if something gets on top of you as a sniper, you just want to be able to fence it off. So just like in the assault video, we're just going to be running with the boys that we found for the assault video and just toss them in here and keep it going. Now, I'm not the leader. This guy, his name's Dumbfuck McGee, is our leader. Classic Space Marine name. He's popping us up on Ruthless and Inferno, and then we're just going to hop right in. Reason I asked for him to take us on Inferno is there's a fun little thing you can do with snipers that I figure if you guys wanted to run a mission where you wanted to actually feel like a sniper, this is going to be the mission. Again, that load screen took 10 years. I really don't understand how the load screens take so long, even on a 4080 Ti. Absolutely insane to me. So we'll skip the intro cutscene and then we'll get started. So this is the first mission in the game. This is Kadaku for the co-op portion. Titus is talking to us about doing some stuff. So immediately we just kind of want to get our shots off on the Majoris enemies. As you can see, we had about 31 stacks of ammo. I think the maximum stacks we get is probably closer to 28, but we have a class that gives us a little bit more ammo. I believe it's from Dumbfuck McGee's ability, where you get, I think, an extra 25% ammo capacity. So it'll be useful for us. Otherwise, whenever we're looking at these little guys and they're off solo and we can't line up a lattice sniper shot, just pull out your pistol. Give them a quick tap in the head. And you should be able to get it. Sometimes, even with myself, I'm not perfect. You'll think you'll hit the head, but the bullet trajectory just goes a little bit lower, so they just get staggered back, and then it's just easier to unload into them than try to re-link a shot up. Again, Majoris enemies should be the majority of the time where you're shooting enemies in the head. Get it? Majoris? Majority? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm not funny. And anytime we get those headshots off, we'll be able to restore our cloak. Obviously, I should probably use it a little bit more, but I tend to use it more as a needed necessity rather than something I could spend willy-nilly. If you get better at the game than I am, especially with Sniper, because it's not my favorite class, but I do enjoy snipers, you'll be able to pop off significantly more and use it way more without having a downside to it than I will. I was getting shot in the back and I thought an enemy was meleeing me, so I parried into the fucking air and I whiffed. Which is no surprise. Sniper is a little scary to play as, just because of how squishy you are with having one less armor than most of the classes. But also you just kind of get your health tanked a lot faster for some reason. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's just because we're the Space Marines that sit in the back that we just naturally have less health. So because both of these guys are running Maltas and or multi-Maltas, we are just going to pretty much get hard carried this match. So we just kind of want to take down the long range guys the moment that we see them, over having our teammates run up to them. And right now is a bad situation for me because I have my back to the wall and enemies can spawn behind me, but the problem is I have enemies everywhere. Now I could use my camo to readjust, but I'm just trying to focus and poke at anything that I can. And then I instinctually knew that when the sword comes up in a certain position, I could parry it. Right there is the perfect parry window for it. You can't parry the first one, but you can at least block it and or deflect it. I'm not supposed to... I guess, rather, what I'm trying to say is I'm not sure if I can actually perfect parry the first one or if you just deflect it because, again, I'm not the best at the game. But I do well enough to get through Ruthless, and especially with my builds, I can do it consistently without failure, regardless of who's on my team with these classes. And I'm not saying that you'll be able to carry on them, but they at least will give you a basis of what you can do to try and carry, if you understand what I mean. They're not going to be brain dead easy, unless it's for, again, heavy, vanguard, or tactical. Those three classes are so brain dead easy that as long as you put a meltagun on, you just don't lose. So because there's an ammo box coming up, normally I wouldn't do this just because it's a waste of sniper shots. But you can just kind of grab what you can and then kind of go. I'm taking one of the stims over the other two because, again, they just have multiple forms of getting health back through, you know, getting hit by a bunch of enemies and then using their melta to just gain it all back, so it's not even worthwhile. Now, I started interacting with this because I didn't think the Hormiguns would actually see me, so I'm just going to pop my cloak, which was probably the worst idea that I could have possibly had because it was only two. And now I have a ton of Majoris enemies up here, and all of them have guns that just kind of arch towards you. And it's going to shred through my HP real quick. As you can see, like, even taking like 6 shots, I've lost over a quarter of my health. And now my biggest issue is I let that sentry get its call off, which means now there's going to be more enemies that are going to come after either me or my teammates, which makes it even worse. And as you can see, I'm getting absolutely chunked because I have a ton of enemies on me and I was not paying attention. Now, I could have cloaked here, but I didn't. I just decided to heal up, and then I'm just going to parry. The entire time, I'm just going to have back to the wall and parry, because it just is simply easier than trying to burst out. And then I'm just going to camo and throw a grenade to just clear it up. Now, I'm not going to lie, I panicked that entire time. And there's a reason that I keep videos like this in is because you're not going to play perfect every single video. You're not going to play perfect every single time. And people that cherry pick their videos to showcase that they play the best all the time and they play the best on the best difficulty all the time is just inherently false. Unless you are Shroud or just a basic AI human computer, you are not going to be perfect every single time. And it's okay to have those flaws. It's just better to learn from them and see what I could have done better. And in that situation, I could have just cloaked out and ran away and healed up and not taken as much health damage as I did. And I could have also unscoped after I took care of the Majoris enemies, or a majority of the Majoris enemies, and let my teammates wrap around to focus on them instead of me trying to be all that I can be and take out everything in front of me. Of course, after stuff like this, you want to make sure that the objective is complete. You can just press tab, and you also want to make sure that after you do all these shots that you go back and refill ammo. Now, I didn't go back and refill even though it was only one bullet. I should have. You never know what's going to be happening on the other side of these objective points where you have to assemble and then go forward. There could be an exterminus enemy, there could be a boss, there could be anything, and that one bullet can mean the difference between having a relatively easy fight and a relatively difficult fight. 30 bullets seems like a lot, but you'd be surprised how little damage they can do against a Carnifex or even a Zoanthrope, a Neurothrope, or the other boss that I can't remember. I just think it's Zoanthrope and Neurothrope and Carnifex for Tyranids. Yeah, I don't think there's another Tyranid boss, but I could be wrong, and I'm not thinking of it right now. Because the other boss with a health bar is a Hellbrute. So yeah, I mean, either a Neurothrope or a Carnifex. And a Carnifex, man, they're tanky as shit. At least with the Zorothropes and the Neurothropes, because they're just big-ass babies with big-ass heads. You can just shoot them in the heads a couple of times, and because you're chaining the headshots, it actually does fairly good, decent damage. Now, I'm being a little bit greedy here, using my pistol for these enemies at a long range instead of actually using my sniper, which isn't the greatest thing, because I have so many bullets, and upcoming is a fight that will have an ammo box. So I could have used them to save myself a little bit more HP. I could have used them to help my teammates a little bit by just shooting the Thormagrunts that had weapons on them, instead of trying to use my pistol and be a little bit more advantageous. Now, as you can see, the knife combos aren't atrocious, but I'm just not a huge fan of how little damage they do and how the heavy and light combos work. There's also this thing, if you just re-click your loadout, you get full ammo too. On some of the classes, I believe it's for heavy and for tactical, or it's for tactical and Vanguard. If you click on them and you click the same class that you have, you can actually refill your entire health. Or maybe it's tactical and bulwark. I'm not sure. It's one of the classes that I have recorded, and I'll mention it later, that you can click on it and it'll give you a full health refund for free. It's really stupid, but while the bug's in the game, you might as well abuse it, right? The only problem with abusing bugs is you'll get comfortable with them, and then when they do patch it, you're going to notice that your skill has gone down. So, you know, use it at your own risk, and understanding that eventually down the road you might succumb to not being as good as you were. So this part is a little bit interesting. After you start that, you could do something to make your life easier. In the back corner behind that orange crate, right there, you can stand and it'll stop one of the enemy pods from spawning, as you can see where Pork is going. And it'll actually make it so that the mission goes quicker and easier. And mission enemies will spawn from somewhere else. And then you'll just have to focus on protecting generators and fixing jams as they occur. But until then, at least it stops that entire spawn from happening. It makes it significantly easier because you don't have to worry about behind you. You have to just worry about in front of you and the generators. Now I'm cloaking here to just press forward, and I ran through my own stun grenade like an idiot, but it's better to just let the enemies portray towards my teammates. This way I could just throw another stun grenade on top of the generator, because these generators go down fairly quick. I'd say these things go down quicker than my mom on a corner on Saturday night, you know what I mean? So I just want to make sure that these get done and immediately press forward and get it over with. Now, I was unfortunately unable to get to that position just because I have a couple of the little enemies on me and then the knife guys, and because I thought the little enemy was going to jump a little bit forward, more so than that, I got hit by this guy as he decided to do a parryable attack and actually reach me with his swords. So I lost a little bit of HP that I actually regained back from my health stims, so that actually sucked. But that guy also didn't have an orange indicator, but I knew that he was doing his lunge attack, so I just simply dodged out of the way so that way I wouldn't get hit by it, because that one is the unparryable orange attack that it can do sometimes. More enemies are coming in through their drop pods, and even though I have a majority of my ammo, I just want to make sure I can grab a little bit more, and especially for my pistol, I was probably about below half. And just being able to light up these enemies really quick is better than just letting enemies overrun me, and I have to use the sniper rifle that has a charge timer on it. You'll notice that I whiff my melees a lot, but it's just because I want to make sure that these enemies aren't hitting me. And it's better to whiff than it is to actually get hit and lose an entire armor chunk because a Hormigrunt decided to reach out far enough and hit you. Now, the thing about this enemy, this, I believe this is the Ravener, is you can stun lock it with the Fusel rifle. If you get headshots, you can stun lock it with the Melt-A-Gun. So us just having, you know, 2 of those on top of having your Fusel rifle, you can just permanently stun lock it and instantly nuke its HP bar. So even on Ruthless, that thing is just a walking joke and won't be going underground anytime soon. Now you may notice that unlike in my previous assault video for the sniper, I'm not really showcasing where the gene seeds are or the armory data, and that's just simply because I don't run this mission well enough or long enough to actually have them memorized. I'm sure there's a wonderful YouTube video out there that if you were looking for where all the gene seed and armory datas are for all the missions, somebody has it. If you guys really want me to do one, I'll do one as well, but more or less I'll just probably go follow somebody else's video and then do it in my own video styling format and commentary. So it won't be anything special unless you like hearing me yap about dumb shit. Or just being what I consider funny. Basically through here, I'm just taking a quick look around because, again, I don't know where the gene seed spawns or the armory data, so I'm just kind of looking for them as we go, hoping that we see them. But more than likely, we're already 2/3, almost 3/4 of the way through the mission. So chances are it's not going to spawn, but if there is one, it's one way at the end, like right before you start the main fight. So there's always the possibility. And it doesn't hurt to just take a quick peek around. Especially because this game's a little more forgiving. It doesn't show off the bosses as much. And speaking of bosses, here's current effects. So we're just going to camo up and just try to get a headshot. I completely whiffed. And as you can see, this last Fusel does like fuck all damage to the bosses. And I didn't realize he was targeting me because I figured he'd target the closer targets. So I'm just kind of putting in bullets wherever I can because it doesn't really seem like where I do my... shots at really does that much more damage to him. And I'm absolutely getting just completely raffle stomped here because I'm just stuck in a corner. I mean, there's not really much I could do. It's kind of more up to my teammates with their melta-guns than for me. I'm just kind of popping shots in its head when I can, and then I'm just going to spam dodge rolls because I don't really have anything else better to do in that situation, and then just going to rain down grenades to try and hope that it chunks them well enough. And then down he goes. As you can see, I lost a ton of health, and even with all my camos and everything, I just played poorly. But this was also just a really rough spot for a boss like Carnifex to spawn. If a boss was going to spawn, I was really going to hope that would have been a Neurothrope. It would have been easier to navigate and use the terrain to block the enemy and get around the enemy to avoid getting absolutely rolled. So, Armory Data can spawn over here. Just like in the majority of missions, it can always spawn like off in a little corner at the end. So at least we got this. We didn't get the gene seed, I think, but hey, better than nothing. So there's a little bug up here that can occur with any class really, but it's the most beneficial with Sniper, where if you go down the stairs and you have your entire team go down the stairs as well, you'll be able to do this little assembly thing and actually be able to interact with the door. So what you have to do is you have to go right along this edge, and then you want to make sure you're facing the dead body. You want to stare at its asshole for a minute, and then you want to casually scoot down to the left. And you want to make sure your teammates are right at that assemble line, and then you just want to keep scooting very, very gently. If you're on controller, it's probably a little bit easier just because you have thumbsticks, right? But I'm using WAS because I'm on keyboard. And then as you get right here, very, very bottom of that lip, you can bounce back up and they'll have the ability to interact with it. Beauty of this is enemies can't spawn behind you, so you'll have free range of the entire field. You'll be able to see enemies off to your right, off to your left, down beneath you, everywhere. The only problem is enemies, like Majoris enemies, they jump. So Majoris enemies can't come up on your left if your teammates let them come past you. But 9 times out of 10, they really shouldn't come to you. simply from shooting the enemies, simply from your teammates being down there, they should auto-lock aggro onto them. But there is the rare occasion that they do come up after you. So enemies are coming from the front. This is the most common location that these enemies will come from. They can also come from the left, the right, and underneath of where I'm standing. They can also come from the middle console where Pork is standing. They'll be able to come out from underneath their little gap right there. Not really the biggest deal from where they come from, as long as, you know, you have people at Meltas, then they're just gonna face roll over everything. You don't really need to worry about the enemies. I will note that this also does spawn significantly less enemies if you have a sniper that does this. It actually, for some reason, counts it as one of the enemies or one of your teammates basically not existing, and it negates, I would say, about a good third to a half of the enemies that actually do spawn in this mission. So if you do have a sniper on your team, you should tell them to do this. Just simply, it makes it easier. Again, this is also, again, a bug, a glitch. So bugging and abusing glitches will lead to lower skill levels overall for higher reward currently. Also, as you noticed, this enemy rushed straight to me from down there, and it went straight to me. Completely past all my teammates and stuff. So this is just going to be a hope that I don't die moment. And hope that I can absolutely destroy these guys before I get rolled myself. Thankfully, I got both of them, and I didn't get skill gapped today. And I can go right here to this thing, I can interact with it, and I just refill my entire ammo. It's beautiful. It's a lovely little tidbit that you can use when you're up here. Now, I feel like the sniper should be able to stay up here anyway. I think it would be a great game feature to allow snipers to have more vantage points than just being on the front line and more or less just shooting. Now, I know that my aim is not pinpoint accurate, but I swear to God, those barriers have a slightly higher hitbox to block your shots than they should. Because I don't think there's weapon drop-off. And now I'm just basically just kind of shooting at whatever I can to just kind of clear out even little bits of enemies just to help my teammates, because I don't see any Majoris enemies. And even though they got Meltas, they can easily get swarmed. And honestly, that one was just my fault. I shot the little triangle. I'm just terrible at this game. So with all the enemies cleared up, the threat neutralized, they're going to detonate. So as they start detonating, you should start moving down the stairs. But I simply was just kind of looking out over the field. It's a very rare chance that you actually get to sit and just kind of look at and enjoy everything that's happening and just be able to watch it. I also forgot entirely that I also needed to be inside the circle. It didn't need to be just one person. I'm so used to completing these missions alone that I'm always the one in the circle while everybody else is dead. And I'm just like, okay, well, guess you only need one. But I'm here. We're good. And we completed our mission. Now, again, we had two people with melta-guns, a heavy and a vanguard. So our damage is probably going to look like dog shit compared to everybody else. But nevertheless, we'll review our damage, we'll review everything we did, and just kind of see what we place as a sniper and see how we could do better. So, first thing we could have done... Oh, no, we actually got the gene seed. Somebody must have grabbed it and not told me. So, first thing to notice is, again, Vanguard, Melta-Gun, 480 kills compared to our 172. And even with the heavy, having a Melta-gun, a multi-Melta. They did 292. Not the greatest thing for them to have, but again, a multi-Melta gets outclassed by the heavy bolter by a significant amount. Melee damage, really not that surprising considering that everybody was running, or, you know, not running a melee weapon and just completely got destroyed there in melee damage. But our range damage, you know, 1700 or 17k for both of those multi-users, and then 13k for the sniper. Realistically, you should be the highest damage as long as they're not using Melta. If they are, then you're getting absolutely clapped. I could have marked more items, got an extra 10 experience there, but it is what it is. I surprisingly took the least amount of damage. I don't know how, but again, these Melta users, they don't give a shit if they take damage because they'll just heal it all back off for a couple of Melta hits. Nobody got in cap, so I got 10 experience for that. Nobody got revived, so nobody gets experience for that. But overall, I think we did pretty well on Sniper. If you guys like this build and you want to see more builds for the remaining other classes, you guys just leave a like. Make sure to subscribe and keep an eye out for them. They should be coming out real quick, probably one every other day. Until then, you guys take care. Bye, guys.